The sky was painted in 1,000 shades of gray, as if Seattle had decided to throw its most cliché weather onto one man's Monday morning. Michael Patterson, a 34-year-old copywriter with curly brown hair, lived in a cozy townhouse just off Capitol Hill. His place had brick red walls, a porch decorated with faded pumpkins left over from last week's fall festival, and a wind chime that sang too often with the Pacific Northwest breeze. Michael's morning ritual was simple: brew strong coffee in his French press, toast a sourdough slice, and sit by the wide glass window with his leather-bound notebook. But today, something was missing. He patted his desk, the counter, even the couch cushions. The pen. His beloved fountain pen, black, gold-trimmed, a gift from his father when he graduated college, was nowhere to be found. For most people, losing a pen is a small inconvenience. For Michael, it felt like a full-blown creative crisis. His job revolved around words, yet he swore his best ideas only came when that pen touched paper. Typing on his MacBook didn't feel the same. He muttered to himself, "Seriously? Of all days, this is when you disappear?" He checked under the sofa again as rain pattered harder against the window. His neighbor, Grace, an upbeat yoga instructor with neon leggings and a puffy raincoat, waved at him while jogging past with her Labrador. Michael waved back half-heartedly, still crawling on the carpet like a man hunting for buried treasure. Sometimes in life, it's not about the thunder outside but the storm inside. Michael thought his creativity was locked inside a single fountain pen. But here's the truth: ideas don't live in ink. Ink only borrows them for a while. The real vault of creativity is the mind, the spirit, and the humor we find in losing small things. By late morning, Michael rushed downtown on the light rail. The office buzzed like a hive. Co-workers in Patagonia vests and plaid flannels sipped cold brew, while Slack notifications chimed from every desk. Michael's cubicle was decorated with sticky notes, a mini succulent, and a Seattle Mariners cap hung like a badge of loyalty despite another losing season. His boss, Susan, a sharp-witted woman in her 40s with cat-eye glasses and an endless collection of scarves, leaned over the cubicle wall. "Michael, the tagline for the energy drink? I need something snappy. Think bold, loud, like it'll punch you in the face." Michael twirled a Bic pen nervously. It didn't feel right, not like his fountain pen. His first draft came out clumsy. "Wake up harder." Susan raised an eyebrow. "Michael, that sounds like a bad t-shirt slogan." He sighed. His brain was locked up, and he blamed the missing pen. During lunch break, he vented to his coworker, Jake, a laid-back designer with a love for hoodies and sneakers. "Man, it's not the pen," Jake chuckled while biting into his avocado BLT. "It's you. You think your brain's rented out to some pen? Nah, you're the landlord." But Michael wasn't convinced. As he stared out the glass tower window at the rainy skyline, he felt like his ideas were leaking away with every raindrop sliding down the glass. We often chain our creativity to an object, a tool, a moment in time. But here's the thing: tools are replaceable, talent is not. Michael was learning the hard way that blaming a pen was easier than believing in himself. And sometimes, excuses wear fancier suits than confidence. Frustrated, Michael decided to clear his head at his favorite coffee shop near Pike Place Market. The place smelled like roasted beans, cinnamon rolls, and rain-soaked jackets drying by heaters. Wooden tables filled the space, occupied by students with laptops, older men in flannel trading fishing stories, and tourists juggling lattes while snapping photos of the first Starbucks across the street. Michael grabbed a latte and sat down, doodling with another disposable pen on a napkin. But it didn't spark the same flow. That's when a stranger sat across from him, Linda, a retired teacher with silver hair and a denim jacket covered in travel pins. She noticed his frustration. "Lost something?" she asked kindly. "Yeah, my pen. My whole creative brain feels broken without it." Linda laughed, a warm sound that rose above the espresso machines. "Son, I taught 5th graders for 30 years. They used pencils, crayons, even chewed up markers. Guess what? The ideas still came. If you're waiting for the perfect pen, you're really waiting for permission from yourself." Michael blinked. Her words landed heavier than his latte cup. Life loves to seat wise people across from us when we least expect it. Michael thought he'd lost a pen, but what he was losing was faith in his own voice. Linda wasn't just an old teacher with travel pins, she was a reminder that ideas don't live in tools. They live in courage. That evening, Michael sat on his couch, rain tapping the windows like a restless drummer. He decided to make a joke of his misery. He wrote a mock obituary for his pen. Here lies a fountain pen. Born in 2010, lost in 2023. Survived by ink stains on every shirt pocket Michael ever owned. He laughed harder than he had all week. Humor, it seemed, was the first spark of freedom from his pen obsession. He even called Jake to read it aloud, and Jake nearly choked on his soda. Then something unexpected happened. Michael started jotting new taglines on napkins, post-its, even the back of a pizza menu. The words flowed, clumsy but alive. He realized the pen hadn't been magic, it was just a security blanket. When we lose what we think we need, we find what we truly have. Michael didn't need his fountain pen to write, he needed to laugh at his own panic. Sometimes, the best ink is laughter itself, because nothing frees ideas faster than joy. The following Saturday, Michael strolled through a bustling Safeway in Ballard, still thinking about his missing fountain pen. The aisles hummed with weekend life. Kids begging for sugary cereal, couples comparing pasta sauces, and retirees inspecting avocados like surgeons. Michael, dressed in jeans, sneakers, and a gray hoodie, wheeled his cart absent-mindedly until he bumped into a pyramid of paper towel packs. A woman laughed nearby. "Don't worry, I've knocked over worse," she said. Her name was Emily, a software engineer with red hair tucked under a baseball cap, holding a reusable tote full of kale and oat milk. They chatted, Michael admitting he'd been obsessing over a lost pen all week. Emily chuckled. "You know, I design apps for a living. The first sketches? Done on napkins, half of them in coffee shops. The pen didn't matter, only the idea. If I had waited for the perfect tool, I'd still be waiting." Her casual comment hit him harder than the shopping cart collision. As he walked out with his groceries, autumn leaves scattered across the parking lot, Michael realized he'd been clinging to a symbol instead of trusting his own imagination. Sometimes wisdom comes disguised in fluorescent lights and checkout beeps. The world doesn't stop for our missing tools. It keeps spinning, reminding us, creation isn't about perfection, it's about permission. Permission to start messy, to fail funny, to keep going with or without a pen. On Sunday, Seattle surprised everyone with sunshine. Families poured into Volunteer Park, picnic blankets sprawled across the grass, kids flying kites, and dog walkers weaving through trails. Michael brought along a spiral notebook and a pack of cheap ballpoint pens. He sat under a maple tree, jotting ideas while sipping iced coffee. The words came clumsy at first, but soon they poured out. Taglines, story snippets, jokes, even random sketches of squirrels stealing Doritos from a picnic basket. Nearby, a group of college students rehearsed slam poetry, their voices bold and unpolished. An older man strummed a guitar off-key, yet still drew a small crowd. Nobody waited for perfection, they just created. Michael laughed, realizing he'd chained himself to a fountain pen for years. Now, watching strangers create freely, he felt a new kind of liberation. He scribbled down a line for work, energy that doesn't wait for perfect. It just moves. The sun doesn't ask permission to shine, and ideas don't ask for the right pen. They just need space. Volunteer Park became Michael's classroom, messy creativity, imperfect music, and fearless voices teaching him that progress is louder than perfection. Monday arrived with a crisp chill in the air. Michael walked into the office wearing a navy button-down, khakis, and a pair of scuffed Converse sneakers. He carried a simple notebook filled with his weekend scribbles. Susan gathered the team in the glass-walled conference room. "Okay, people. Show me brilliance," she said, scarf of the day draped dramatically around her shoulders. When it was Michael's turn, he cleared his throat. The campaign isn't about the drink itself, it's about movement. About not waiting for perfect conditions. The tagline is, "Fuel the now." Silence fell for a beat. Then Susan clapped. "That is exactly what I was looking for." The team cheered, Jake gave him a high five, and even the intern whispered, "That's fire." Michael felt the weight of his lost pen vanish. The idea hadn't lived in ink, it had lived in him all along. Victory doesn't always roar, it sometimes high-fives you in a conference room. Michael discovered that his creativity wasn't trapped in a pen, it had been sitting in his chest, waiting for belief. And when belief finally showed up, so did brilliance. That evening, Michael came home, dropped his bag, and flopped onto the couch. As he reached for the TV remote, something rolled out from under the cushion. His fountain pen. He picked it up slowly, laughing until his stomach hurt. All week of chaos, panic, and breakthroughs, only to find the pen hiding in plain sight. But this time, he didn't clutch it like a lifeline. He set it on the desk gently, like a friend instead of a savior. Then, just to prove to himself he'd grown, he opened a pack of cheap blue pens and started writing jokes on sticky notes. Life loves irony. Sometimes we lose things just to find ourselves. Michael's pen came back, but it was no longer the source of his power. His ideas had been there all along, rain or shine, coffee shop or office, with a fountain pen or a freebie pen from the bank. So remember this. The world doesn't wait for your perfect tools. Your ideas don't need ink to exist. They live in you, loud, funny, messy, and alive. And sometimes, losing a pen is the best way to find your voice.
Like and subscribe if you want daily dose of happiness and motivation.